and hugging that went on between First Lady Michelle Obama and the Queen of England. Over and over and over again, we saw video clips where Michelle Obama is placing an arm around the Queen, and the Queen places an arm around, as the media said, the small of Michelle Obama's back. And the question is raised, who touched whom first? For you see, there is a proper way to approach the Queen of England. And following the rules of etiquette understood by all who spend time around royals, you are to never touch royalty, and should there be any touching, it must first come from the Queen. And hearing from a number of commentators, both from the United States as well as England, it was finally established that the Queen made the first move. And then it became everybody's concern to attempt to understand what prompted the Queen to act in such a way. She must really be fond of the Obamas, some of them said. Michelle is really a hit with the Queen. While getting inside the psyche of the Queen brought much food on which the media fed throughout this week, to many this was of little matter, especially in comparison to all that could and needed to be discussed in the world today. We're dealing with an economic crisis. They could have talked more about that. We're dealing with the conflicts that happen within our communities and for the increase of violence that is going on our very streets. We're dealing with the breakdown in our families and the need for us to find hope, and folks looking for hope in all the wrong places. Oh, indeed, we could have talked about a whole lot other than this issue. But this issue was one that was raised and thought about throughout the week, and as I was preparing for this sermon, it brought a certain illustration to my heart. And this was the illustration of Jesus marching in none other than his final triumphal entry into Jerusalem. In that entry, there was so much going on, and it had the feel of a king coming forth. In fact, not only did it have the feel, but the words were spoken, "Behold, this is the king." And in many respects, I feel Jesus was preparing the way for the world to receive his kingship. His kingship was being revealed during that walk on Jerusalem. Though we can't begin to know what Jesus was thinking or felt on the day that he turned to face Jerusalem, we simply have the record told in all four of the Gospels that Jesus took a turn and moved towards Jerusalem. This was significant because Jesus had been ministering all along in and throughout Galilee. And he had been careful not to go all the way into Jerusalem, for Jerusalem had much happening there. Jesus turned toward Jerusalem, and when he did, I want to submit to you today that he sent forth a message to the entire Jewish and Gentile world. He sent forth a message that something different, something special, something unique, something life-changing was about to happen. I'm not sure, going back to the Queen, what her purpose was. I'm not sure what she had in her mind when she took that step and reached out to Michelle Obama. But somehow in my sanctified imagination, I believe that she was sending forth a message as well. That something different, something special, something unique, something was astir. The Queen of England had every right and maybe even the responsibility to say to the world that something different is going on. And likewise, I see Jesus Christ ushering in a new kingdom right then, right there, when he turned to face Jerusalem. Until this time, Jesus had been ministering in Galilee, healing the sick, the lame, and even raising the dead. He concentrated on sharing good news of this new kingdom, telling parables that encourage the people to get prepared. He said, trim your lamps, watch and pray, for you know not the hour. And he challenged the people, healing folks to go and sin no more. Sometimes even saying to people like Jairus, who he healed his daughter of illness, to go and don't tell nobody. Many times speaking, don't tell nobody, because he wasn't yet ready for the kingdom to come forth. His hour had not come. He did not want for there to be a rushing forward of this kingdom revelation until the time was ready. And the time had come. And isn't that something wonderful about our Lord? The more we learn to trust and depend on him, the more we come to understand that his timing is not our timing. The more we come to understand that some things he purposes for us to stay in for a little while before he moves us to the place of high revelation. In this case, he was not ready for his kingdom to be realized. And so he was quiet many times and said, do not tell what just happened to you. Although some folks, after they got healed, they just couldn't keep it to themselves. Do I have a witness in the house today? Sometimes when you've been through a little something and the Lord has brought you through it, you can't do nothing but let somebody know the Lord just stopped by here. Do I have a witness today? Jesus turned to Jerusalem, the center of political power. This was the place where the high priests resided. This was the place where the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Roman provincial governors jockeyed for power. The